Good morning, everyone. Could everyone just take their seats, please, so we can get this show on the road? And there's some sandwiches and juice up the back if people just want to grab some refreshments. That'll be fine. It's also be there after the event. So, I just wanted to say a little introduction. My name's Helen Bryson, for anyone that doesn't know me. And I manage the Elite Athlete Support Program at UNSW. And I'm really happy that we're running this event today, and I want to say thanks to the diversity team for accepting our application, because it's very, very important for athletes with disability to be seen and be included in more things. And Tamsin, one of the speakers you'll hear from more today, she's very involved in advocating on this front, and right at the top as well at Australian organisations, Unisport Australia, Cerebral Palsy Alliance, and I've noticed, because she does a lot of posting, which is great, she's appeared in many panels this year, so she's getting out and about and spreading the word, which is fantastic. And today is all about hearing about their stories of how they made it to the top. They've all represented Australia in their separate sports, some to Olympics, some just on the national stage or international stage. So, without further ado, we've got a very professional MC here, so happy to introduce Steph Brands, who is one of the best, if not the best, sports presenter, journalist around, and I know she'll do a good job with the panel today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Helen. No pressure at all there. That's very good of you. And can I add my welcome to the UNSW Diversity Festival. We are celebrating diversity this week on Gadigal and Bidjigal land, and we acknowledge them as traditional custodians of the lands and waters of this region. Pay respect to their elders past and present, and those that hold the continuing cultural and spiritual connection to country. I extend that to everyone of First Nations, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander descent who's here with us both in the room and joining us online. As Helen said, my name is Steph Brantz. I come from a sports journalism and media background. I'm currently Director of Communications at the Olympic and Paralympic Games Office. However, I'm a firm friend of UNSW, so I was absolutely delighted to be asked to come today for today's session, which is Represent Athletes with Disability, the journey to green and gold. And we've got three fantastic stories for you. As you all know, sport is more than competition. It's a powerful avenue for people with disability to discover community, belonging, diversity and inclusion and achievement. Outside of the Paralympic spotlight, though, sometimes we don't get to hear those stories, and they remain untold. They're stories of resilience, of innovation, the transformative role that sport can play in people's lives. So this session will start and continue conversations about disability and inclusion in sport, from community participation through to proudly representing Australia on the world stage. We're going to look at adaptations in rules, in equipment, classification systems that have created pathways that celebrate diversity and, most importantly, unlock opportunities. We are so privileged to have three remarkable voices with us today, Dr. Alex Smith, Tamsin Colley and Jamieson Leeson, who I'll tell you more about in just a moment. So we'll have videos, we're going to have a panel discussion, and they'll share their journeys and also challenge you to consider how the principles of inclusion in sport can be applied across all of our lives. This fosters opportunity, connection, and what we all want, true belonging. So as Helen outlined, we're going to speak to athletes. I'm going to speak to them one at a time, ask them some questions, and afterwards there'll be an opportunity if you have any questions. And of course there's refreshments at the back and the opportunity to get some photos with our three stars today. So our first panellist here next to me is someone whose story powerfully blends resilience, scholarship and sporting achievement. Before I chat to Alex, please turn your attention to the screen. Let's see a little bit about what Physical Disability Rugby League is all about.
Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna be proud to be the me that I become. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Once I started, I can't stop. I'm gonna give it all I got. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm about to show you, yes I can. Yes I can. Yes I can. If you're looking at me right now, I'm about to show you, yes I can. I think about. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Once I started, I can't stop. I'm gonna give it all I got. I'ma do it right now. I'm about to show you, yes I can, yes I can, yes I can, yes I can. If you're looking at me right now, I'm about to show you, yes I can, yes I can, yes I can, yes I can. You better believe it, yes I can. You better believe it, yes I can. You better believe it, yes I can. Yes I can, yes yes I can. You better believe it, yes I can. You better believe it, yes I can. You better believe it, yes I can. Yes I can, yes yes I can.
Community. It's about representing mob. It's about coming together and celebrating a game that we love and a culture that we love.
It's a cliche, but at this fixture, sport really is the winner. The combined Indigenous versus All-Stars game is a centrepiece of the Physical Disability Rugby League season.
It's all about feeling.
If you're looking at me right now, I'm about to show you, yes I can, yes I can, yes I can, yes I can. Yes, yes I can. Yes, yes I can. Started up a fire and I just can't put it out. Yeah, ooh yeah. Now I've got my mind on it and it's all I think about. Ooh yeah, ooh yeah. Once I started.
Ceiling cover. What a special moment for that young man. I mean, he sat there, he's waiting, he's patient, and he's good hands. Across the pitch, bit of space. Here, see what you can do. And look at this, a little bit of, you can dance, so can I, fella.
Ryland.
Please welcome Dr. Alex Smith. Let me tell you a little bit about Alex first. He's a proud Indigenous man. He works in the schools operation within the Faculty of Arts, Design and Architecture here at UNSW. Living with autism and lupus, his life changed dramatically when a motorcycle accident during his master's studies left him with a traumatic brain injury and spinal nerve damage. Despite the ongoing physical, cognitive and auditory processing challenges, he went on to complete a PhD in educational psychology. And he's been focusing on how instructional design can be modified to support people living with chronic pain. He now shares his insight with clinicians around the country. He's passionate about inclusive practices in both education and in the workplace. Alex's journey into Physical Disability Rugby League, which we've just seen, I can see how much the memories and the pictures mean by the big smile on your face, Alex. His involvement, though, was sparked by a chance television interview, and we'll hear more about that in a moment. But in just the last 18 months, he's captained and represented country New South Wales. He's played for the Indigenous All-Stars, earned man of the match in the Australian Test against New Zealand, and is currently in the Australian squad preparing for the 2026 World Cup. He plays for Souths. Hopefully there's no feedback on that in the audience. Knew there'd be someone. And through the sport, he's found family, he's found community, and a powerful sense of achievement, which is totally warranted. What extraordinary pictures there we have. Alex, could you tell us, though, how does Physical Disability Rugby League promote inclusion?
Well, I've got a picture there of George and I, and George is a Paralympian, and he's the founder of the sport. And he's a very passionate believer in providing opportunities for people with disability to play sport. And he created the sport so that it was inclusive of lots of different types of disability, which includes things like brain injury, cerebral palsy and limb amputation. And it gives these players an opportunity to play together in a running version of the sport as opposed to one that's played in a wheelchair. So while the sport's in its infancy, it's very much a genuine collaboration between people that live with disability, have lived experience of disability, and that has then changed the types of rules and the governance that we have in the organisation. But at the heart of it all, and hopefully you saw that from the video, is just this whole principle of participation and fun. Somewhere on the field, in the admin staff, in the coaching staff, there's a place for you to be involved.
So you say it's in its infancy, but tell us, how big has the sport become?
Well, in a lot of ways, I know today's panel is about athletes going on a green and gold journey, but the sport itself has actually been on its own journey to green and gold. It's only been around for 15 short years, but it's gone from being played on community fields in Western Sydney to now being played before first grade NRL games as curtain raisers. It's now played in 4 countries, and we have international tests, and we've got the World Cups. And next year we have the World Cup that's being hosted by Australia, so it'd be great to have some of you there in the crowd cheering us on. If you'd like to understand a little bit more about the game, Adam Hills has actually created 2 documentaries. I make a little cameo in one of them, but he's made 2 documentaries, Take His Legs and Grow Another Foot. And those docos really do give you a better sense of just how far the sport has come in the last 15 years. And like, one of the reasons why I draw your attention to Adam Hills is because he was fundamental in me starting my own green and gold journey. So I owe a lot to him and to George.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that. How did you get involved?
Well, there's a great, here we go, that's me. That was before my first ever game. That's in mid-2022. You can see Adam there, and George is on the far left. That was my first game, but I found out about the sport back in 2018. But I was watching the Sunday Footy show, and Adam Hills was on talking about disability footy, and I was like, what? You don't play it in a wheelchair? What is this sport? And I was doing rehab at the time following surgery, and I thought, as soon as I'm fit and well enough, I have to go and play. So it took almost 2 years before I was well enough of rehab and training and getting ready to play. And it was January 2020, and I turn up at the fields, and the first person that meets me at the car was George. And I got through the training session, everything's fine, I'm ready to play for the Roosters, and then it's 2020, so it's COVID and lockdowns, and so the season doesn't occur. In 2021, I got a fracture and had to have surgery and more rehab. And then in a training session in 2022, I tore my left hamstring. So I just could not get on the field to play this sport that I'd heard about 4 years before. But then by mid-2022, I got to play for the mighty Rabbitohs, and I think it sort of came full circle because I was playing alongside the 2 people that had brought the sport to me, which was Adam and George.
That's super. You mentioned the strips, and we've seen your change in colours to the Rabbitohs, but talk to us about the uniforms that the players wear in PDRL. What's important about them?
The uniforms are really important because they're a visual means of classifying players into particular categories that promote inclusion but also ensure that we're safe on the field. So I'll explain to you a little bit firstly about our shorts. So those of you that know rugby league, it's a pretty brutal sport to play, particularly when it comes to tackles. And as someone with a brain injury, I've had people say, look, should you really be playing football, you might get even more injured. And I've said, well, actually, I'm a red shorts player in disability football. So the red shorts signify that I play by touch rules. So for me to make a tackle, I just have to touch. And for me to be tackled, I just get touched. And then we've got Jalen up there, and he's a black shorts player. And so with his disability, he's allowed to get fully tackled and be taken to the ground. So the two different types of uniform on the field show to the other team and to the referee, okay, we're playing by these rules with this particular person in this uniform, and we play by these rules with this one. And then we have different coloured socks. So this is us lined up for the haka in Auckland, and you can see we've got 3 different coloured socks. And the socks represent our classification. So if you want to represent in the sport, you go through a process. So you submit medical documentation to the International Rugby League, and then we go through a formal testing process that's done according to Paralympic standards. And then you are categorised into 3 different levels of disability. So the least level of disability are the purple socks, so they're the A's. And then moderate disability is pink, they're the B's. And then more widespread disability are blue. So you can see in the picture up there, I'm a red shorts player and I'm blue, so I'm a category C player.
I love that creates a very clear indication for the players on the field what happens. What about adaptations to the rules? Can you tell us what has happened within that sport to make it more inclusive?
So we have a range of disabilities on the field at once, and basically you shouldn't be discriminated against because of your disability if it means that you can't perform a certain skill or task on the field. So we have quite a number of players, for instance, that have cerebral palsy that might have difficulty in catching or handling the ball. So rather than penalising them if they drop the ball, because that then would be a knock-on, we simply go, that's all right, pick up the ball, it's just counted as a tackle, you play the ball and we just move on. So it's a very accommodating sport and recognises that with certain types of disability, you may not be able to perform certain tasks, but you shouldn't be discriminated or penalised against because of that. We also have equitable time pretty much in attack and defence, so both sides get sort of more equal opportunity to be able to score points, but then defend those points.
Now, you talked about how you got involved, and we're talking at community and then at club level and those sorts of things. What's the pathway like, though, Alex? Because we can see how far you've gone. You're here in green and gold.
Yeah, we're very lucky in the sport that there are different pathways available for people to progress from club level to then representing. So we have the New South Wales Country, New South Wales City sides. We have the Indigenous combined squad that play against a representative All-Stars team, which we play for NAIDOC Week at Redfern Oval. And then we also have New South Wales and Queensland squads, the Australian Test team, and then the Australian World Cup development squad. So yeah, I've been through that pathway since 2022, and I'm hoping to continue on that pathway to representing next year. Like other Australian teams, we have Australian team camps, and we cover things like skills and agility, our diet, and trial games. And then we have sort of interstate camps as well, where we meet up with the Queensland guys. But we also have sort of more opportunities for everyone to have really special or unique experiences. So getting to play in big stadiums as curtain raisers to NRL games has just been magic, particularly at Leichhardt Oval. That was something that we did this year before the Tigers game. We also have a Harmony Nines competition that's played, and we have an inclusion gala where different types of football that are available for people with disabilities is is shown to people, and we all come together and have a really great day there.
That is super cool. How about, though, if you can't or don't want to be a player, can you get involved?
Yeah, there's lots of opportunities for people to get involved in the sport. Because it is such an inclusive sport, yes, if you're an able-bod, you can be involved. And if you have a disability as well, you can be involved. We have managers, many of whom are mums of players with disability. We have support workers, some of whom are our coaching and training staff. And we've also got some coaches as well who tend to be fathers of players with disability. And then we have operations staff, so we have our referees, we have our representatives to different committees like the Australian Rugby League and the IRL. And we also have volunteers that help with things like admin, media, sponsorship.
There really is something for everyone. Alex, you've earned yourself a break, but just before you kick back and relax and we listen to your fellow panellists, just tell us, what are you most proud about this sport and the benefits that it seems like it gives to everyone?
Well, I think you can see by that picture, this is probably my favourite picture in the world. The reason why I love it so much is because of the joy and that sense of belonging that the sport brings. Disability footy is a team sport, and team-based sports are not always offered or modified for people that have disability. So what that means is that we can often miss out on opportunities that are associated with the physical and mental health benefits of playing in a team sport. But with disability footy, so many different types of disability are welcomed that everyone feels included. So that sport gives you the opportunity to develop your skills, to improve your health and well-being. And you feel like you belong, you feel like you've got friends, and you have fun. It's pretty easy to see that our faces light up with just so much joy. And I think part of that is, for those 40 minutes that you're on the field, the rest of the world and the day-to-day challenges of living with disability are forgotten. And all we're focused on is playing a game that we love, which is footy. There's a lot to be gained by giving people with disability the chance to play team sports. And on a personal level, like after seeing all of this, who wouldn't want to play disability footy? It's a sport that I absolutely love because by playing it, I've found friends, I've had so much fun, and it's given me a sense of achievement. Having a disability can sometimes feel socially isolating, and you can sometimes feel that other people don't understand your lived experience and the difficulties that can happen on the day-to-day. But at footy, we all have a disability, so we get it and we understand it, so we can be a source of support for each other. This sport gives me an avenue for playing a game that I love alongside my mates, and I'm embraced within a very nurturing community. I'm so grateful to George for creating a sport that creates and promotes a sense of inclusion, a sense of belonging, and joy. The sport for me really has been life-changing and life-enriching.
Dr. Alex Smith, what an extraordinary story, and I love that you've reminded us that above all, sport is supposed to be fun. We sometimes forget that, especially in the elite environment, but that's incredible. You've earned a rest. You stay there, stay comfy. Would you please thank Dr. Alex Smith? A little bit about her before I bring her to stage. Tamsin Colley has lived the dream of countless young Australians. She's represented her country on the world stage, and she did it just 2 days after turning 14 years old. She's an elite para-athlete. She made her Paralympic debut at Rio 2016 Paralympic Games in the women's 200 metres T36. Her road to Rio was unexpected. The Russian Paralympic team was banned. Australia gained 4 extra spots, and Tamsin seized the opportunity with both hands, or both feet probably is more appropriate. Through her race, she had various experiences. It ended in heartbreak with a fall on the home straight. She showed immense resilience. She's since gone on to represent Australia at multiple international championships. Highlights include 2 silver medals at the 2017 World Para-Athletics Junior Champs in Switzerland, a personal best performance at the 2019 World Para-Athletics Championships, earning her a place in her first major final. Off the track, her achievements are just as inspiring. She's a UNSW student excelling academically, all while navigating ataxic cerebral palsy and a recent autism spectrum disorder diagnosis. She's an advocate for disability rights and community inclusion. In 2017, she organised the inaugural Eastern Suburbs Special Needs Athletics Carnival. It was an initiative that earned her a Pride of Australia Award nomination. Balancing elite sport, exceptional academics and advocacy, she exemplifies perseverance, passion, and the power of sport to inspire. So as she makes her way to the stage, please turn your attention to the screen. Would you please welcome the wonderful Tamsin Colley? Watching that, I'm not sure how you have time to sit here and chat to us, but we're very pleased that you are here, and warm the cockles of my heart because my local club team is Hurlston Park Wanderers. I live around the corner from UN Park, so great that you're pulling on the blue and white there. I want to ask you, before we talk about some of the things we saw there, how did you first get involved?
I got involved. So I was born with a brain tumor and had it surgically removed when I was about 1.5, and then I started my journey in a wheelchair, and then gradually improved with lots of physio and occupational therapy. And then my mum, who had a physio background, actually introduced me to parasport as a form of rehabilitation. So we tried a variety of parasports at first, like athletics, swimming, cross country, and soccer, but I started with athletics because it had a clear pathway for people with physical disabilities like myself.
It actually looks like you're still doing all of those sports, so you kept them up. But that first representation of Australia at just 14 years old at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games, take us back to that moment. What was it like to be selected and to live out that dream so young?
Yeah, thanks. So it was an amazing experience. As you mentioned, I was a late selection, so it was very rushed in the lead up, and I didn't have that much time to prepare, which was probably good. I didn't make myself too nervous. But I was so young. I was only actually, I turned 14 over in Rio, so I met the Governor General at the airport and even had an interview with the oldest ever trained Paralympian, which was really cool. The team threw me a surprise party for my birthday, which was a nice way of making me feel included. And the atmosphere in Rio was just electric, because it was all the Brazilian fans. There was actually a Brazilian in the lane next to me in my race, so I just used that energy to fuel my performance. So it was a disappointing end to the games when I fell over at the end of the race, but I feel really encouraged when people tell me that it's shown resilience and inspired them to keep pushing. So that's what I'm doing.
It actually makes a great story for keynote speaking. So that's something that you can build on, because you did build on it from a performance level. You bounced back even stronger. You won 2 silver medals at the 2017 Junior World Champs. You were setting personal bests at later events. What did it teach you about resilience? How has that played a role in your growth as a person and an athlete?
Yeah, it taught me a lot about resilience. So, after Rio, I was obviously a bit disappointed, but then I actually a few months after it, I broke my ankle again. So, or not again, I never done it, but people assume it was from the Paralympics, but it was actually from another thing that happened a few months later. And then I had to have surgery and spend the summer in a wheelchair because I couldn't use crutches because of my balance, and then I was non-weight bearing too, which was really tough. And then I was just get motivated because basically people had told me all my life that I couldn't do the things. So I just wanted to really prove them wrong and think that I could just be the best I could be. And just doing what I love, because athletics and now football just gives me a good routine, and I love waking up every day to do it and be 1% better every day. Yeah.
And you've just come back from overseas with the Para-Matildas, and the Para-Tillies did so well. What was that trip like? Can you share some of that?
Yeah, thank you. It was great. So I went to England last month, with the Para-Matildas, which is Australia's cerebral palsy football team that was invented 2 years ago. It has people with cerebral palsy, acquired brain injury and symptoms of stroke, and we're all on the field together. So a mix of classifications. I'm an FT1, and then there's 2s and 3s too. So you must have at least one FT1 on the field, and at most one FT3 on the field, and as many 2s as you want. So that just makes it really fair, similar to what Alex was saying with PDL. And the experience was just incredible. I've never been to England before, so I really enjoyed that aspect, but also being with all the team, and I'm close with them, and we spent some time even playing cards together and just relaxing between our games. Just being in an environment where everyone has a disability, so you understand each other and just don't judge. You're all here for the same thing, which is to do your best and try and do your country proud.
Sounds like a super trip to be on, and you've clearly had a number of amazing trips. You touched on classification there, and within the Para-Matildas there's a variation of classifications on the field. Also through the Paralympics there's many different classifications, and I recall when I worked for the ABC on London 2012, we were given a whole course because it can be very confusing if you're not familiar with how it works. Can you tell us, how do the classifications make competition more fair, more inclusive, and can you also describe your classification for us?
So Yeah, I touched on football before, so I'll focus on athletics. So I'm T36, which is for like T35 to 38 is ambulant cerebral palsy, and then different levels are different classifications. So most athletes who are ambulant with ataxic cerebral palsy fit in my classification, and there's a number of classifications. There's like 50 in athletics, so there's different ones for blind, deaf, amputees, spinal cord injuries, like short stature and intellectual. Yeah, and then in Australia, we usually compete in multi-class events, so your percentage is calculated on your percentage of like the world record or like the baseline, so what they expect the top people to do for your classification. Yeah, that's how those odds work. And then for international competitions, we're often like just versing our classifications. So yeah, in Rio was only the first time I've been in a race with all my classifications, so that was really cool to verse people with like my, well, not my exact disability, because like there's a lot of variation within it, but yeah, being on your relatively even playing field too.
Amazing. Off the track though, you're not resting up. It sounds like you're so busy. You've made a huge impact. I mentioned it before, organising the Eastern Suburbs Special Needs Athletics Carnival. That one earned you a Pride of Australia nomination. What inspired you to create that event?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I was basically growing up, I'd always been had access to like really good opportunities to participate in sport, and I noticed that like, yeah, there wasn't like both. There was kind of lack of opportunities, but also like people didn't know about it. Like, yeah, they didn't know there was opportunities for them. Yeah, so it was around that time too. I would start using social media to spread inclusion and stuff. And then I was actually in United at school, so there was a Youth Frontiers program where you work with an adult mentor on a project of your choice, and I chose to organise our Special Needs Athletic Carnival, which yeah, was the best decision of my life. Yeah, and it just went really well. It was actually in the planning stage. I was over in Switzerland for a bit representing Australia again, so that was a bit hard, like having emails back and forth about it, but yeah, it happened in the end. There were about 20 participants, like with all types of disabilities, at my local track, EOS Marks. Yeah, so that was really fun and really good to see like all the smiles on people's faces, like trying new sports, trying athletics for the first time.
It is, as Alex was outlining to us earlier, it's about the joy, isn't it, that sport brings. So we can see how proud you are of those things that you've done away from the track as well. But looking ahead, what are your goals as an athlete? Yeah,
so my goals as an athlete, I obviously just came back from representing Australia with the Paralympics, which was a big one, but there is another World Cup next year for cerebral palsy football, which I'm obviously aiming towards, but like even if I don't get in, I would just like to watch it and support the team. I'm actually currently, there's the World Athletics Championships coming up, which I don't do as much athletics anymore. I'm focusing on football, but I always like supporting my Australian para-athlete teammates. Yeah, and just I'm studying exercise physiology here too, so I aim to continue my studies with that. I have a distinction average so far, so I want to keep that up, but it's hard. But yeah, and just doing the best I can every day, so that's good.
Well, it sounds like you're absolutely excelling at everything you're doing. I'm going to ask you more about that university experience in a moment after we speak to our next panellist, but for now, folks, please thank and celebrate Tamsin Colley. We can't wait to watch your next adventures. Folks, our final panellist has already made history in one of Paralympics' most tactical and demanding sports. At just 21, Jamieson Leeson is a two-time Paralympian who was at the Paris 2024 Games, where she became the first Australian woman to win a Paralympic Boccia medal when she and ramp operator Jasmine Hayden claimed silver in the individual BC3. That achievement capped an extraordinary few years. I've lost count of the stages that we've been on together, Jamieson. Jamieson partnered with Dan to reach the world number one in the mixed pairs BC3. She won gold at the 2022 Rio World Championships while also securing silver in the individual BC3. Their successes were recognised with some of Australian sport's highest honours. They were named AIS Team of the Year ahead of the Diamonds and the Hockey Roos, as well as Sport New South Wales Team of the Year with a disability. Jamieson first competed at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics as a teenager, teaming up in the mixed pairs and performing strongly throughout the pool stages. Diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy as a toddler, she was scouted by chance at a school boccia tournament, and it was a discovery that, as you can imagine, changed her life's trajectory. Today, she's not only an elite athlete, also a UNSW economics student, proud advocate for greater opportunities in parasport, especially in country and regional communities like her hometown of Dunedoo in central New South Wales. She has become an absolute icon there, a much-loved sporting identity, and as she comes to the stage for us to hear more about her story, let's have a look at the screens.
Hi everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Jamieson Leeson. I'm a student here at UNSW studying economics and a Paralympian in the sport of boccia. So what is boccia? Boccia is a target ball sport played by people with disabilities where the aim of the game is to get your balls closest to the white ball called the jack. All abilities can play this sport, and those who can't throw the balls, like myself, can use a ramp and a ramp operator to help get the balls onto the court. It is one of two sports that are played at the Paralympics, but not the Olympics. My journey in boccia began in 2018 when I was 15 years old. Growing up in a small country town, I didn't have access to participate in parasports, so I was left to cheer my siblings and friends on from the side, until I had found boccia. I had always been a big fan of sport, so when I discovered that I could one day compete at the Paralympics, it created a drive within me that I still haven't lost. I have been representing Australia for the past 6 years in boccia, competing in both individual and pairs events. Some of my greatest achievements are competing at 2 Paralympic Games, in which I won silver in Paris and competed in the pairs in Tokyo 2020. Also coming home with a gold and silver medal in the 2022 World Championships was pretty cool. Boccia has not only given me the opportunity to travel the world and see some amazing places, meet some incredibly inspiring people, but has also motivated me to share my story about the importance of sport, particularly for those living with disabilities. I am passionate about getting more people involved in parasports to not only change their lives for the better, but to also change the attitudes people have towards the disabled community by highlighting the incredible things that we are capable of.
Now we are ready to send our biggest boccia team to the Games since 1996.
Young Athlete of the Year with Disability, Jamieson Leeson, Boccia.
Well, everyone, let's hear it for Jamieson Leeson. I love the huge smile. It must get bigger every time you're celebrating, and there's been so much to celebrate, Jamieson, over the years. Talk to us, though, when you talked about discovering boccia, at what point did you realise you were going to be pretty good at it?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think a lot of other people knew before I knew, to be honest. Yeah, when I first started, I went to the school competition and didn't really know what the sport was about there. It was kind of just a bit of fun and didn't really follow a lot of the rules. So went that day, had a good time, and then met one of the Australian coaches there, and he kind of introduced me to the sport and said, I think you'd be really good at it if you want to come and learn a bit more about it. So came down to Sydney, 6-hour drive, and met my ex-coach Ken Halliday, who's been with me for a long time, and he said to me, this was, I think, end of 2018, he said to me that, you know, Tokyo is a little bit close, 2 years away, but Paris is really good. I think you'll make Paris if you're determined and you're willing to do it. And then qualifying for Tokyo was a bit of a shock and a bit unexpected. And I think that was kind of my wake-up call of, holy crap, I'm only 2 years into the sport and I'm making the Paralympic Games, which was really cool.
And how did you find out? Was it a qualification event, so you knew?
No, so I got a bit lucky, I must say. I didn't work very hard for it. I didn't actually do the qualifying, I didn't do the hard job. But the qualification was in 2018, the year I started, 2 years before, in the pairs event, which I competed in Tokyo, and there was another female in the team who was playing. So in the pairs event, at that time, you had to have one male and at least one female. You had to have minimum one female in the team for inclusion. And they had another female in the team at the time for the qualifiers, for the world champs. And then she unfortunately couldn't compete any longer. So I was the next best thing, and I was still a rookie, but I went in there and had a good time and learnt so much from Tokyo, and thankfully we had that extra year of practice because I needed it.
Well, we all know in sport that hard work creates a lot of luck. So being in the right place at the right time, and you were absolutely there. I do want to ask you about the sport being, it's really teamwork. Like, you need to be on the same page as your ramp operator. How do you find that partnership?
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously playing in pairs as well, there's 4 of us that have got to work in a team, but individually as well, as you saw in the video, I have Jasmine, who's my ramp operator, and she's been working with me for over 2 years now, and before that it was my mum for 4 years. So it's definitely a role that takes a lot of commitment and a lot of work and hard work, and my mum and now Jazz trains just as hard as I do, and she's at every training session that I'm at and works just as hard, and it's definitely a team role, and I think it's made us very close, almost like sisters. We fight a bit like sisters sometimes, but I think it's a lot of hard work and understanding each other and knowing non-verbal commands as well as verbal commands is really important.
And when you do fight and you fall out, how's that work when it's your mum that's your ramp operator?
Oh, yeah, I know. That was a bit awkward, but thankfully she takes it as bad as well as I did. So it was definitely a test to the relationship for sure. But it's actually quite a few BC3 athletes internationally have family members or close friends as their ramp operators, and I think you've definitely got to have a really good relationship with the person to be successful, and I think that's why a lot of family members do it.
Oh, it's good you found Jasmine now for the family piece. Paris 2024 was, of course, historic, becoming, as I mentioned earlier, the first Australian woman to win a Paralympic Boccia medal. What did that mean to you at the time, and what impact do you want that to have on women and para sport in Australia?
Yeah, absolutely. At the time, it was a bit of a whirlwind because we went straight from the individual event that my game was, I think, at like 10 p.m. and then got the medal at like 11, and then we had to be playing the next morning at 9 a.m. for the pairs. So we didn't really get much time to actually celebrate in the moment, and then unfortunately not doing so well in the pairs kind of put a bit of a downer at the end of the trip. But I think it took a while for the moment to settle in and me realise what I had actually done. Not only to win the first ever silver, but to be the first female to do that, especially being that Paralympic Games was the first time that it had been split into male and female separate competitions, which was a big thing for inclusion and getting more people in the sport, because previously 9 out of the top 10 in the world were men. And it's definitely been a process to get more women involved in the sport, and for me to be up there in the top 5 in the world now of best women in boccia in the world is something really cool, but to be the best in Australia is something that I'm super proud of, and constantly working on to get more women involved in the sport.
I'll tell you who else is proud, all the people of Dunedoo, because I think, have they done a mural to you?
They have, yes.
Okay, our own Roger Carter is heading to Dunedoo to, did you say the pie shop?
Yeah, we stopped at the pie shop.
It's not bad, is it?
So we'll get him to send back a picture of the mural?
No, side of a pub, pretty Aussie, if you ask me. Yeah.
Excellent, what a perfect excuse. But talk to us about how unlikely that seems, that a girl from Dunedoo is the best in the world.
Yeah, it is a bit strange, and I think for me, I only moved to Sydney 2 years ago, so for the first 4 years of my boccia journey I spent in Dunedoo, and I think even after Tokyo Games when I was barely 18, I think people didn't really take very seriously and realise what I was doing until I think my medal in Paris really solidified that I'm in the country, because everyone's just so laid back. They're like, oh yeah, you know, she travels to Sydney and trains and works hard, but they don't really understand like the concept of boccia and how serious it is and how much hard work is put into it. But yeah, it's always really fun to be able to get back to the town and to celebrate with everyone.
Happy days. You can meet Roger at the pub. You've lived with spinal muscular atrophy since you were very young. Can you talk to us about how sport has shaped your sense of belonging, identity, and that magic word we spoke about with your other two panellists, resilience?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, growing up with that condition, it was very hard for me to participate in sport. There was no para sports in the country at all, pretty much. So to access any sport, I pretty much had to come to Sydney. And growing up in a massive sports fan household, I was always watching sports or watching my siblings or cheering on my friends. So to be able to find boccia and to be able to participate in the sport and have everyone else cheering me on, it was a bit of a hard moment for my siblings, I think, because they were used to having all the attention and now they've got to cheer me on for once. So yeah, it was a bit of a change and a bit of a shock for everyone. But I think growing up in the country and not having those sports available to me has made me more resilient, and obviously having a disability makes things a bit trickier as well. But for me, it's about the determination, and I've had to, I guess, push myself to get to where I want to be. It wasn't an easy journey and it wasn't sitting on a plate in front of me, and I had to work hard for it, but I got there.
And some. That's you got there. You actually left your siblings in the dust, and you are top of the world. But I want you to look ahead now. What is your vision, if you like, for the future, both for boccia in Australia, for yourself as an athlete, and also for your role as an advocate for disability inclusion?
Yeah, that's a big question.
It's huge.
Where do I start? I think for me, in terms of my boccia, I'm still working hard and still training hard, and you know, I want to be present in Brisbane Paralympics in, 7 years' time. Don't know what that will look like yet, but yeah, I really want to play a role in boccia for many years to come. I'm obviously still enjoying playing and still passionate about playing and doing well, but when that time comes and I'm not prepared to play anymore at this elite level, I'm still going to be involved in getting more people in the sport. I think there's still a lot of work to be done, especially in the women classifications. For me, I just had nationals last week, and there's, I think, 6 classifications in Australia, and I was the only woman on the podium out of all the classifications other than one from New Zealand. So there's a lot of work to do in that female area, but I want to get more people involved, opening up clubs and just raising awareness about the sport, because so many people don't know what it is, and just working hard on that.
Just to follow up on what we spoke to Alex and Tamsin about, how does classification work in your sport?
Yeah, so internationally, we have 4 classifications that can compete. So I'm a BC3 with the ramps, and then we have BC1 and 2 who can throw the balls, and they typically have cerebral palsy. And then we have BC4s, which also throw the balls, but they have non-neurological conditions. But then we also have in Australia BC5s, which again is similar to BC4s but of greater strength and abilities. And then we also now have an open classification where pretty much anyone can play. People on the spectrum and technically people without even disabilities can play, but we don't have anyone like that yet. So kind of opening the sport of boccia up to anyone at the moment to try and get more people involved, and it's working.
So if anyone hasn't had the chance to watch you play yet, where can they come and watch you compete?
We've got our World Boccia International Challenger coming up in Canberra in November, which is really exciting. It'll be the first international comp here in 13 years. So first one for me to have in my home country, which is really exciting. But we always have state titles and things around New South Wales throughout the year as well.
Plenty of opportunities. I've got one more question for all of you, but before I do that, would you please thank Jamieson Leeson? Amazing stuff. And wish you all the best for the competition on home soil. It'll be weird not to have to travel for that, won't it? For Jamieson and Tamsin, can you just share with us what your university life is like? What's it like being an elite athlete with disability and a student, and how does that all work? Jamieson, I'll start with you.
Yeah, it's been a journey for sure. I think when I first started uni, I was still living in Dunedoo and doing it online for the first, I think it was about a year and a half. So I didn't quite get that uni experience, but from the beginning, I think UNSW has been amazing in, making sure that all my disability provisions are provided, and Helen's been a great support in making sure that I get everything done when I need to get it done. But yeah, I think it was a bit of a shock because it was something that I hadn't seen before with, an education program that not only supports your disability in more ways than you can even think of. I remember when I had my first discussions with the equity program team that they were like saying all these things that they could offer, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't even think of that, but that's amazing. And then obviously with the sport program and getting adjustments when I need and making sure that my assignments are done and exams are provided when I'm not away, making sure everything's good. It's just been such a community, and then to come, in person now for the past couple of years and studying in person, it's just such a welcoming environment.
My brain wants to explode. How do you stay on top of all of that?
I don't know. Thankfully, it's my last term, so I'm really done with that. I don't have to worry about it anymore. But yeah, I just manage. I think, hard worker. Make the time, I think, is the thing. I don't know where I find the time, but I make it.
I think all three of you sound like absolute overachievers in all aspects of life, but it's incredible to be able to see the work-life sport balance and how that works. Tamsin, tell us, how does it work for you? You're halfway, are you, through your degree? And I think you listed 4 or 5 countries in the last 6 to 8 months. How do you manage uni?
Yeah, again with some difficulty, but then I at least do uni part-time, so I do 2 subjects, so it's a reduced load, which is really helpful. And yeah, as Jam said, the equitable learning services are really good here. Like I had never known, like throughout high school, like you would have to fight to get the privileges you deserve, so it's good that they're really supportive here. And then same with the Elite Athlete Program, Helen and Hayley are great, so they always provide you with the support you need. Similar to you, I started online, we were still coming back to in person after the COVID. But then in the recent years I've becoming more and more in person, which is really good too. Meet like-minded people. I study exercise physiology, so all people who are passionate with sport is really good, and it helps you. I find studying exercise physiology helps me with my sport too, and my current job with being a personal trainer too, that's really good. You said, just meeting people with like-minded interests, and as I had on the screen, I have started the Disability Inclusion and Accessibility Society with someone in the audience here. That's really good to get more people with disabilities involved in university life and just feeling supported and talking about anything that interests you, but also accommodations and how we all cope with student life with a disability. And we have that challenge of being an athlete, but that makes it more interesting.
Exactly. Good luck to both of you as you complete your degrees here and your time here at UNSW. You mentioned Helen Bryson, and for anyone that online that isn't aware, or anyone in the room, I'm sure everyone knows, if you're an elite athlete at UNSW, you have Helen on speed dial. It's a different aspect, I suppose, when you're a staff member, is it, Alex? I mean, your very role description is about inclusion, isn't it? What's it like for you here?
UNSW is, for me, a very inclusive and welcoming workplace. I work in a disability identified position with faculty ADA in operations, and my awesome team are here supporting today. I have flexible work conditions so that I can better manage my medical and rehab sessions, like speech therapy and occupational therapy and physio. And some of my healthcare providers, they give reports to my line manager about workplace strategies that can help me so that I can better manage my cognitive fatigue, strategies to help me learn new information, which is hard with a brain injury, and also we have workplace modules that we have to learn, and I really struggle with that, so we work through that. But I've been working here for 11 years since I finished my PhD here, and I've been very fortunate to have very supportive and wonderful line managers and school managers and bosses, and my boss is here today. I guess in a lot of ways I'd like to say that UNSW for me is a workplace where I feel valued, I feel seen, and I feel like I can make a contribution. This job enriches my life because it provides me with purpose, it gives me financial stability, it gives me the opportunity to succeed, but I think more importantly, it gives me friends.
Alex, thank you very much. And folks, I think you'd all agree that UNSW is greatly enriched by having the likes of Alex, Tamsin and Jamieson as part of the community. Would you please thank them for joining us today? Incredible stories. We have a couple of minutes. For those in the room, obviously you'll have the chance to chat personally after we finish our formal Q&A. But if there are any questions, we have a microphone at the back of the room, or Helen, let me know if there's anything online. If anyone had any questions they wanted to ask. Had a pretty comprehensive look at the three stories here, and I think it's absolutely underlined that there's a place in sport for absolutely everyone. Helen's just checking her phone. I love technology.
Oh, yeah.
Do any of you have training today?
No.
Day off.
Excellent. Yeah. There are no questions online, but I've got a couple.
And we've got one. And we've got one here.
Oh, you've got one. And I know Adri Awan's got one. He put his hand up ages ago, so I'm coming back to you. Alex, watching your sport, I've learnt so much, and it's so good to see how inclusive it is. And I just wonder on that front, do you have any plans to expand to females, or do not many females want to play? Do you think, was that not even been an issue? And the other thing with George starting it off, who was a Paralympian, is presumably there's a push to potentially get you up in the Paralympics. So I just wanted to find out about those. And also for all of you, as the Elite Athlete Manager, or though Alex, if you want to start studying again, I'll put you on the program. I think you meet the eliteness level, and we'll let you study part-time and sit exams overseas and things like that. Both, oh my God, Tamsin and Jamieson, Jam and Tam, excellent, outstanding students, don't need much chasing up. I wish all the other elite athletes were here to see you, because bulk of them do not read anything that is sent to them. Well, not everyone, sorry, who was ever watching online. But with you guys, I know I can rely on you for responding to things and doing things. And yeah, one of the things Tamsin showed a bit of in her movie that I've seen in real life at the University Nationals for Athletics. She's been 4 times now, I think, and I've been lucky enough to go up there each time, and each year I can see how much personally she's developed, as well as with her advocacy, because she's always quick to go up to the organisers and say, we need to have a para relay, and can we run it with the women's, able-bodied relay, not our own event. So that's happened the last few years, and I think next stop World Uni Games, maybe. That's what I'd like to see, because we have a big World Uni Games, which is like the Olympics, sort of just one level below, but there's nothing for the para athletes. So that's something we've got to push with Uni Sport Australia, for sure.
Could be your next project.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. 2 questions here. Alex, I'm going to come back to you in a moment, and you let me know when you're good to go.
Thank you, all of you. That was inspiring. Makes you feel like you want to get out in the paddock yourself and have a crack again. Like you people are like juggling study and travel and everything. So, utmost respect for all 3 of you. Thank you very much. But I've got a specific question. I'm a rugby league nut, and I went and watched Alex play the other week at Leichhardt, which was the Physical Disability Rugby League Grand Final, where they beat the Roosters, unfortunately for you, my friend. But it was 12-4. It was a great game. But apart from being an absolutely awesome defender, which I could see that, I actually learned a lot about tactical kicking. I wonder whether you could comment on that, Alex. Like in Disability Rugby League, has that evolved in the last couple of years? It seemed to have a really, like the Alfie Langer type grubber kick seemed to be huge in the attack. Okay, being a rugby league nut, I just want your thoughts on that question.
Did you know that one was coming, Alex?
It's my boss. Shall we go to Helen's questions and then move into...
Yep, perfect.
Yeah.
So I think Helen's were around the expansion of the sport and whether it might become a Paralympic sport at some point.
Thank you for that. I needed time to write my response because I haven't practiced, and I have trouble with the auditory understanding what you're saying and then trying to work it out. So please bear with me. I'll try to answer as best I can. In the past, we have had young girls and young women play the sport at club level and also at our come and try days, as well as exhibition matches. And they wear red shorts, and that's to ensure their safety on the field. So they simply play by touch rules. And some of them have scored some brilliant tries. I think of one that we played out at Manly, and Daisy scored almost an 80-metre try, 80-metre run try. So yes, we do have female inclusion in the sport. In terms of the Paralympics, yes, we desperately want to be there. At the moment, we are relying on what's happening in the able-bodied sport of the NRL in particular and the IRL. Once they get accepted into the Olympics, which we hope would be for Brisbane, then there's an avenue then for us to try to go that pathway as well. Obviously, we're desperate to be involved in that level of competition, but we rely on the able-bodied organisations to help us get there first. In terms of the kicking game, yeah, we will. We can discuss that later.
He'll send a report through. We have one more question at the back.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, can I say thank you to all of you for the opportunity to hear your stories and your insights at this event today. Thank you to Helen and the team for organising this very meaningful event as part of Diversity Festival. My question is to all 3 of you, but I think there's a particular focus to our 2 student athletes. It's a question about nerves. I am by no means an athlete or anywhere near an elite athlete, but I love watching our elite athletes and especially our UNSW elite athletes. And I can only imagine how nervous you must be before you get onto that stage there, whether you're getting out on the soccer field or getting out in front of the Olympic stage. My question to you is a 2-parter. Do you get nervous before you get out there to compete? And if you do, how do you manage those pre-competition nerves?
Jan, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. It's a good question. I think I do get nervous, especially at the Paralympics. But as an athlete, it's about managing those nerves. So for me, I find that if I'm not nervous at all, then I do no good. So I have to kind of find that balance, and I'm still learning how to do it, and I don't really know what the best solutions are. I'm still, like I said, working on it. But for me, I kind of like to hype myself up before the games and get into focus mode. And I'm not very jokey not very fun before a couple of hours before a game. But kind of just focusing my brain. Obviously, it's a very strategic sport, so making sure I've got all my attention on Boccia. But then also one thing I do, which don't really know if it helps or not, but I like to sing songs in my head before the games because we spend about half an hour sitting around before we actually get to go on court. So yeah, just finding ways of distracting myself, but also keeping the focus and the pressure up enough to make sure I'm ready to play.
What's your go-to song?
It changes every time. It's whatever comes to my head. Can't give you an answer to that one.
Perfect. Tamsin, for you, is it different? You do team sports and individual sports. Talk to us about nerves.
So that was a great answer from Jam. I agree, I still get nervous before games and races, but it never really goes away. You just learn to manage it better. And then you can rethink it of how nerves are good, it means you really care about the result, which is good. Just using those as energy to fuel your performance. And I just do different things like listening to music. I really like to put myself up with that. I like Hall of Fame is probably my Imagine
Great
Dragons.
song.
Imagine Dragons.
Great stuff. Alex, talk to us about nerves. The smile on your face in all your pictures looks like you're not nervous at all. Is that what it feels like?
Yeah. I actually don't get nervous because I just know I'm about to have fun. So it's more about excitement. It doesn't really matter what jersey I'm putting on. I just know I'm going to be out there with my mates having fun. So yeah, it's more excitement and also trying to block out the nervous energy of some of the people around me. But yeah, I just know I'm about to have fun. So it's bring it.
Fantastic. Well, it's been absolutely super fun to have the three of you here today. As a reward, we have sandwiches and juice for you. Just hold on for 1 minute though, because I think Helen wants to come up and close. But folks, thank you all for having me, and one more round of applause for our amazing panel. Thank you.
Yep, I just want to echo what Adri said and say I'm extremely proud of all of you and humbled. I've watched sport all my life, and just to hear your stories and also dealing with all the other elite athletes that are studying and doing that and knowing how well you guys cope with your disabilities, it's definitely awe-inspiring, and I'm so glad for Tam and Jam, you're on my program, and Alex, I'm so glad I learnt about physical disability rugby league, and I know last year we were talking about an exhibition game on the VG or something. So Hayley Stanford, who works with me now, used to work at Arc Sport and knows the right people in the right places that will make that happen. And I think after today, it'd be good to do some exhibition Boccia and maybe have some athletics or football, whatever your fancy is, Tamsin, for Diversity Fest next year, wherever the team are. And thanks, Sophie and Abby, for organising. The diversity team are the best organised people I've ever met. So thanks for all the organising, and I know you've had events on all week. This is the last day of the events, I think, although Roger's got an interesting one coming up next Tuesday night. I forgot what the title is, but it's about transgender issues in sport, which is quite current. So I think he's got a good panel for that one as well. This is the last day of the events, I think, although Roger's got an interesting one coming up next Tuesday night. I forgot what the title is, but it's about transgender issues in sport, which is quite current. So I think he's got a good panel for that one as well. So it'd be good, maybe we can watch that one online if we can't make it, Rog. Thanks everyone for coming. I hope you all got something out of it. I know I did, quite a lot. And I just wanted to make an observation. Yeah, the whole having fun while you play and playing with your mates and all that, that's universal for, you know, from toddlers up to... I just went to this winter swimming nationals, even though I'm not an elite athlete, event up at Sunshine Coast, and they had it over 90s for men and women. Like, it's all handicapped swimming. And the fun, like, excitement on everyone's faces, and they gave out medals and everything. And I just thought, whatever sport you're playing, whatever age, whether you've got disabilities or you haven't, everyone gets so much out of it. And I think it's the best thing you could do for those that have children, to get them involved early in sport, puts them in good stead for life, for uni, for everything. And so many, look at all the opportunities these three have had, which would not have occurred had they not participated in sport. So take my hat off to all of you. And yeah, Alex, let me know if you're coming back to study. And we'll look after you. Thanks, everyone. And thanks to Steph. Where are you? Oh, there, yeah. She's got to go to another event that she told me about. But thanks very much. Very professional. And we'll see you in a few weeks at the Sports Awards. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for giving up your time. I know you're all really busy people, but it's really important to tell these stories, and I'm glad it's been broadcast online and we've got it recorded, that we'll be able to play snippets at different events. And if any of you want a copy, let me know and I'll send you the link. Yeah. And thanks again.